Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Devin and I read books, and this is Devin Reads Books, and I got a new job finally, and I'm very thankful for it, but I do have a massive commute. So the vlogs that I was working on are going to be a little bit delayed until after my training week and I start work from home. It's going to be a lot better. But today we're going to do a little bit of a ramble, if you will. So this year specifically, I feel like I've had more books than usual that I was disappointed by. And maybe that's just a product of reading more books and making more content. But some of them I feel were not my fault, and that is the crux of today's video, and that is expectations. So whether it is film, whether it is books, we all see the trailers, we all read the blurbs, and we get this picture of what the book is about in our head. And I don't know if some of these books that I didn't care for were missold to me, or if I just didn't understand. There are two books this year that I read that I feel the plot of the book in reality was not aligned particularly well with the blurb and the description on the back. One was a video we just did, and it was Feast While You Can. This, I'm going to go into spoilers just a little bit. This focuses almost exclusively on the relationship between Jagvi and Angelina. Like, their history, their drama, it is almost purely about them. The monster is very much an afterthought until the last 30 pages of the book. And there is a statement there, but I was expecting more monster. Whereas I think Thirst, which I'm not going to pull off the shelf, I think that did a really good job of balancing out it's not really romance, I don't know how to describe it. The undertones, the queer undertones, the plot, the grief, all these side stories and histories very, very well with more horrific or more gothic horror, at least, types of events. This is literally, you learn about monster real, almost no consequences until the very end of the book. Just nothing happens. It focuses entirely on those two in the relationship. These very small snippets of something happening. Don't let the forest in. Incredible balance. Incredible balance. This is very much a drama, which is not wrong. It's not bad, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I was expecting when you read the blurb of the book. The last paragraph is the monstrous force grows bolder, begins to infiltrate Angelina's life. It finds her at night, guzzles her memories, controls her from the inside. The monster feasts on all the passion, heartbreak, and mess up, blah, blah, but it doesn't really do any of that until the very end. I still like the book. I'm not getting rid of it. I will probably read it again at some point once this dust has settled a little bit, but I was expecting more of a monster story. And that leads me into book number 2, which I don't think was as drastic as a kind of betrayal or branching off, but that is Forgotten Sisters by Cynthia Pelayo. This one, actually, it was the opposite. This one the blurb sells itself very much as a crime thriller mystery, and it kind of is almost more gothic, and it really does just focus on the Forgotten Sisters, so to speak, and kind of the stuff that surrounds their day-to-day life. And all these mysterious threads that kind of swirl through this book, almost none of them actually get solved or answered, because that's not the point of the book. It's not really a mystery crime thriller at its core. It's not. The big mystery question kind of gets answered, but that's it. There's a whole lot of strings that are just never touched again. And so that was a little disappointing. When the back, they're looking for a link between the mysteries of the river and what's housed in the bank. Even Anna and Jenny don't understand how dreadful it is when the truth about their unsettled lives begins to surface. It doesn't begin to surface, it comes all at once at the end. Not quite all at once, but close. But you kind of look at the back of this and you think that it is some kind of crime mystery surrounding this podcaster. Because when this came out, every mystery crime book was about a podcaster, a true crime podcast. So is that me? Am I the problem here? I don't know, maybe. But then we have books, and this isn't one I read this year. This is one, I'm looking at you publishers, okay? I'm looking right at you, the people who write these blurbs for the books. But that is Universal Harvester by John Darnielle. I'm going to read this entire blurb, right? In the late 90s, you can find Jenny Helt at the Video Hut in Nevada, Iowa, a small town in the center of the state. The job is good enough for Jeremy, and quiet and predictable. Jeremy Holt, not Jenny Holt. I don't know how I read that. And it gets him out of the house where he lives with his dad, where they both try to avoid missing mom, who died 6 years ago in a car wreck. When a local school teacher comes in to return her copy of Target, it's an old movie. The transaction jolts Jeremy out of his routine. There's something on it, she says. She leaves the store, though she doesn't elaborate. 2 days later, the customer returns another tape and registers the same odd complaint. There's another movie on this tape. What do you get from that? All right, and then we get the second paragraph. In Universal Harvester, one placid Iowa fields and farmhouses became sinister, imbued with loss, instability, and foreboding. As Jeremy and those around him are absorbed into the tapes, they become part of another story, one that unfolds years into the past, years into the future, part of an impossible search for something that once lost, that they would do anything to regain. I want you to sit with that for a second, and I want you to consider what that makes you think this book is about. Also, it probably doesn't hurt to know that this was originally stocked in the horror section. If you don't want spoilers for Universal Harvester, end the video now. It's fine, it's cool, I get it. It's a 7-minute ramble video. I have the normal content coming. I don't have time this week while I'm onboarding. This book is about Jeremy finding a lady who is looking for her daughter, who went to a cult, and she is splicing all these tapes that a PI found and recorded of the cult. That's it. And it's a good story, don't get me wrong. It's really sad. It's really touching in a gloomy way, right? It's a really, really good drama. But that is not what we just read. There's nothing thrilling about this. There's a little bit of mystery, but you start to piece it together pretty quick. There's nothing Videodrome about this, which is basically what the back just immediately makes you think of. What the heck? This was the blurb. So I don't know, like, how much of this is just me and how much of it is the Babadook. Right, the Babadook was pitched as a horror movie. You watch it, the monster is kind of scary, but the entire movie is really just about grief, right? It's a really good allegory for grief and the things that we carry. But it was branded and marketed as a horror movie. So I keep running into these books that are making me feel like that. And I don't know how to cope with this. So I don't know. Do we need to just go into books now with like zero expectations? Am I just having a bad year? I don't know. Thank you for letting me ramble. I definitely want to know any books that you felt bamboozled by in some way, or maybe you went into it with expectations of one thing for one reason or another. Maybe you just saw one review or something or read the blurb, and then you read it and it was just not that in any way. I definitely want to hear about that down in the comments. I'll probably have the next vlog finished, edited, and uploaded by the end of the weekend. We will see. I technically work from home Friday, but I have a lot of onboarding stuff to do. So thank you for all your patience. Once I get settled into this job, I think it is going to be a very good fit. It's going to be great for the channel and all the extra time I'm going to have not having this hour-long commute into Denver at all but 5 days a month. So just bear with me a little longer, guys. All right, just a little bit more, I promise. And then we will get back to our regularly scheduled program. But thank you for watching. Drop a comment for sure about any books that you felt bamboozled or tricked by or did not fill that hole you were expecting them to fill. I'm Devin. I read books, and I will catch you next time.